Hi everyone, and welcome back to day number 2 of our online training here with So Empower Inc. Thank you very much to everyone who's taken the time to fill out their application forms. We have our moderators attending to them, so we'll have a full class list hopefully by the end of this week. We're hoping to fill at least 30 to 40 spots with this online training. So far we've reached about 30 women have sent through the applications already, so it's a good number and it's growing. So just to sort of gauge the interest in the online training space. Yes, so last week when I released our first training video, I asked if you could fill in your application forms, your registration forms, and also to bring along a few tools or resources that you will be needing throughout the session. So one of the first things that we asked was that you bring along your tape measure, you bring along tailor's chalk or a marker, you bring along a exercise book or just any book that you can record your measurements. So hopefully you have that on hand right now while you're watching this video, because we're going to be using that in a few minutes. Okay, all right guys, so with your tape measure, turn to the CM facing part of your tape measure. We're going to measure our mannequin Claudia here. So the 3 measurements that we're going to be using or teaching you today are your bust measurement, your waist, and your hip measurements. Okay, so these 3 measurements serve as guidelines when you're creating any sort of pattern. We'll be doing female body measurements first, and maybe we can think about kids or men's body measurements a bit later on. But for these sessions, this group of sessions, we'll be focusing on the female body. So Claudia here is about a size 10, standard size 10 here. I will share with you a table, a measurement chart that you can use to determine what size you are, just by measuring and plotting your measurements into your table. So I'll share that with you. I'll share that resource with you maybe in our next session. Okay, so for now, let's do the bust measurement for Claudia. So grab your tape. Now, for those of you watching at home, you can use a mannequin, or you can measure yourself, or you can maybe get someone to just stand in and help you out, and you can measure that person. Just grab your measuring tape, okay, and let's get straight to it. So we're starting with hair bust measurement. I'm just taking my tape and drawing this across on her back, across her back, and over the fullest part of her breast. Okay, so my tape measure meets at 75.5 cm. Okay, these are exact measurements. What that means is that we haven't made any seam allowances. Okay, so when we are drafting a block, we usually just do exact measurements. When we're drafting a pattern to be cut onto fabric, that's when we add seam allowance, but we'll cover that a bit later on. So we said she was 75.5 centimeters. So I'll have that recorded now. Yep, so bust is 75.5 centimeters. I'm just going to go ahead and measure her waist. Okay, let's put that down there. Okay, again, using the centimeter facing side of your tape, you'll find her natural waist. So if you're measuring for someone who's not really a standard figure like this, and most of us aren't, and that's okay, you'll find that we're a bit bigger in certain places. So sometimes it does get a bit confusing when you're looking for, say, someone's waist when you're trying to measure, or even your own waist. Maybe the easiest way to determine where your waist sits would be, it usually is 6 inches from your bust. Okay, that's a little tip that I have. Right, so you measure from your bust line 6 inches. That's exactly where your waist should be. So for Claudia here, this is correct because as you can see, 6 inches is right here where the smallest part of her torso is, and that is her waist. Okay, so let's turn this around to our CM side and do exactly what I did for bust measurement. Sorry. So I'm measuring 52.5 centimeters for her bust, and I'm gonna record that down as well. Okay, so 52.5 cm. Okay, I'm also going to do now her hips. So it's just the same. This time, to find her hips, we will look for the widest part of her bottom area. Okay, so just visually looking at this, the widest part is right here. Okay, like I said, for the waist, if it is a bit difficult to find where the widest part of your hip is, you can use your measuring tape like how I did and found 6 inches for the waist. You can use a measuring tape here, starting from your waistline. You can measure down to 8. So 8 is usually where your natural hips are. For myself, when I'm measuring, I like to run my tape measure over the largest part of the bum area, and this is because you don't want your clothing to be too tight for whoever it is you're sewing for. So it's totally up to you. You can use the first method like I said, and you can just measure 8 inches down from the waist, or you run your tape measure over the largest part of the bum area of the person you're measuring for, and that will be your hips measurement. So for this case, we'll do the second method. Okay, so just with your tape again, imagine that Claudia has a generous back. Sorry, Claudia. So Claudia measures in at 70 centimeters. Okay, I'm just going to record that down so I don't forget. 70 cm. So these are my guidelines now. I have my bust at 75.5 cm. I have my waist coming in at 52.5 cm. And I have my hips here at 70 centimeters. So if you follow this video, congratulations, you've just learned how to measure your bust, waist, and your hips. Okay. If you have any questions on what I've covered so far, feel free to send me a message on Facebook and I can attend to your queries individually. Again, thank you to everyone who's registered, and looking forward to having each of you continue this journey here with us here at Sew Empower. So I just wanted to clarify something here before we wrapped up today's session. These classes, in this group of sessions that we'll be running, we will be covering basic sewing techniques, measurements, basic sewing techniques, and how to sew a Mary blouse. Okay, so these sessions are free, and what we usually advise women who sign up for our contact classes is Sew Empower. We are a collective of women who sharing knowledge, making knowledge readily available for just women, popping in women everywhere, no matter what community you live in or what situation you're coming from. These lessons are for you. Okay, they're made available for you. We're trying to make this accessible so that you as well, you learn a skill that you can turn into a sustainable business. Okay, adding on to that, I'd just like to say that as a collective, we are upskilling ourselves as well. This is a sharing and co-learning environment for us that we're trying to extend out and include to all our participants as well. And we feel that women in PNG could really benefit from more wider spaces like this, and we're proud to be change makers in this space. We're proud to be one of the first organizations to offer free training like this. A lot of women, a lot of people, we've had so many questions, and one of the main questions that we are asked is why do you do this for free? You can charge women for this. And like I said before, we believe so much in the power of sharing, co-learning, and that collectiveness power of PNG women. And based on this principle, we've been able to form many of our activities and many of our programs. And over the years, we've been able to grow and transition from contact classes to now online training. So we're very happy to be, groundbreakers in this area in online training. We're very excited to have you on board. This is the first of many more videos to come. Sorry, excuse the background noise. If you have any questions, if you need any support, feel free to reach out to us. So Empower is here for women like yourself, like myself, women who go through everyday troubles or struggles. We believe that not just basic skills, but financial literacy really is the way forward. So that's what we stand on. We believe in helping our fellow women out there. We believe in financial literacy, and there's a segment coming up on that as well. Because before I sign out, resources you'll need for our next video would be measuring tape again, your handy pencil or pen to record your measurements down, okay, your exercise book. So just a recap over what we covered. You measured your bust, your waist, and your hips. And the next time we meet again, we will measure the length of the Mary blouse that you will be sewing. We will also measure your bicep or your arm width. And we will have all those measurements written down. So just a side note as well before we sign out. A side note would be, if you're interested in drafting or attending more advanced classes, we do offer those. Pattern drafting for customized dresses or shirts, or are interested in signing up for those advanced classes, do let us know and we can include you in our next list. For the advanced classes, they are offered at a fee, and we will discuss that with those who want to take their skills to another level. So thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. We'll keep in touch with our next session. That'll be later on during this week. We'll post the links to everyone who's registered. Thank you again, and bye now.